Question 5. This question is about groups in periodic table. The elements in group 1 become more reactive going down the group. Before I proceed with this question, I have to remind myself about word more reactive. What does it mean in this case? The question is referring to group 1 elements. So in this case, when it says more reactive, it means it becomes easier for them to lose electron. It says rubidium is below potassium in group 1. This means rubidium is more reactive. Rubidium and potassium are added to water. So when they are added to water, they will react with water. It says predict one observation. You would see that shows that rubidium is more reactive than potassium. If you recall, when you react group 1 elements with water, the metal disappears. Now, as the metal becomes more and more reactive, it will take shorter amount of time for the metal to disappear. And then in some cases, as you get to a more reactive metal, the metal reacts so quickly that the energy release causes it to catch fire. So we can say that rubidium will disappear more quickly, or we can say rubidium will catch fire. Next part says explain why rubidium is more reactive than potassium. In other words, they're saying why rubidium loses its electron more easily compared to potassium. So we have to give reasons for that because it's an explain question. And the 3 markers, so we'll have to provide 3 statements. So first one, we can say there are more energy shells in rubidium. That's more energy shells. Number 2, we can say there is more shielding due to inner energy shells. And as a result of 1 and 2, I will now say there is a weak force of attraction between nucleus, which is positive, and outer electron. Therefore, it becomes easier for it to lose its electron. Next part says complete the equation for the reaction of rubidium with water. You should balance the equation. Whenever group 1 metal reacts with water, it always produces metal hydroxide and hydrogen. So straight away, I can write down hydrogen here. And on this side, I'll write down RbOH. I need to balance this equation. To balance this equation, I'll have to put 2 here, and I'll have to put 2 here. I'll also have to put 2 here, and this is now balanced. There's a general equation for this, and that is 2 times X, where X is the group 1 metal, could be any. Reacting with water will always be 2H2O. It will produce 2XOH plus H2. This is my general equation for this reaction. So you can memorize this. So in your exam, it might be the case that they may give you a different metal instead of rubidium. Next part says the noble gases are in group 0. Noble gases, they are unreactive because they have complete outermost shell. Plus, they are all atomic. It says, which is the correct statement about the noble gases? The noble gases have atoms with 8 electrons in the outer shell. 8 electrons in the outer shell is wrong because the number of electrons that each shell can contain is 2, 8, and 8. So a noble gas can have 2 electrons in the outermost shell, and that will also constitute as complete outer shell. So it could be 2, 8, or 8. The noble gases have boiling point that increase going down the group. Now they are talking about physical property, and this physical property will depend on the type of bonding. In this case, they all have intermolecular forces of attraction, so this is correct because as you go down the group, what happens, the size of the atom increases, and therefore it has more electrons in it. If it has more electrons, then the interatomic or intermolecular forces will increase. The next part says the noble gases have molecules with 2 atoms. That's wrong. It says the noble gases react with metals to form ionic compound. That's wrong because they are unreactive. So the only answer that's correct in this case is 2. Now it says table 1 shows information about 3 isotopes of neon. been given a mass number and you've been given percentage abundances. Let's calculate the relative atomic mass of neon. Give your answer to 3 significant figures. Now you have to remember this will carry 1 mark in this case. So you have to be very careful. So to work out the AR of neon using this data, we'll have to say 90.48% is this isotope, 0.27% is this isotope, and 9.25% is this isotope. So all I have to do is I'll do 90.48 times by 20 plus 0.27 times 21 plus 9.25 times 22, and I'll divide this by 100 because the total percentage here is 100. Now, once I solve this, I will end up with an answer which will be 20.187. But the question says I have to give my answer to 3 significant figures. So I have to round it at this location. This is 8. So the previous number will go up by 1. It will become 20.187.